Guys, Xaryu here. Today I want to talk about Frost Mage PvP talents. I've already done a video back in beta, I don't know, a month or two ago, talking about which talents to take for PvP, but since the game has progressed and there's been buffs and nerfs, and now that it's actually live, I want to go over and do the talents again. So most of the talents are the same as the last time I did a video like this, except one or two, I think. So yeah, let me go over this and explain my reasoning. I do want to say, however, that some of these talents could still change. Like previously mentioned, I haven't done any arena at 110 yet, and some of these talents, maybe I'll be like, oh, this is actually better to do it this way, this is better to do it this way. So these are the talents that, you know, before entering arena, I think are the best. So let's go here on the 15 talent tree. We have Ray of Frost, Lonely Winter, and Bone Chilling. Ray of Frost is interesting. It's a 1 minute cooldown, and the more you channel it, the more it deals damage. So it goes up and up and up. The problem with it is it's a channel for 10 seconds. So in arena, you're going to get that shut down almost immediately every single time. So although it does a decent amount of damage, and you can channel through pillars and stuff, you know, if someone runs behind the pillar, it'll continue to channel. With a 1 minute cooldown, and it doesn't even do too much damage, and it's just going to get kicked, I don't think it's very viable. Here we have Lonely Winter, and this is something I've been getting a lot of questions about on whether or not to go Lonely Winter. So you get 20% damage buff on most of your abilities in place for your Water Elemental. So one of the greatest benefits of being a Frost Mage over even a Fire Mage or a lot of other casters is that you have a good amount of control. And you kind of lose that control when you lose that ranged Pet Nova. Like, a lot of people really downplay that ranged Pet Nova, but that Pet Nova allows you to just root people. And in this expansion, with a lot less root breaks, it's increasingly important to have that Pet Nova. It's so valuable. So although I could change my mind, before going to arena, I do not think Lonely Winter is going to be the choice, and I'll further explain why here in a second, but the main reason is just because that control, you don't want to lose that control with your ranged Pet Nova. So the second reason is when you Shatter combo with Deep Shatter, which I don't have yet because I haven't leveled my Honor talents all the way, but when you Shatter combo with Deep Shatter, you get 200% additional damage to frozen targets with your Frostbolt. And if you don't have something to shatter into, aka Pet Nova, then you're not going to be able to get as much benefit from that Deep Shatter talent. So Lonely Winter doesn't really synergize, and you lose some control. So that's why I think that Bone Chilling is the best way to go here in the first row. You just get a very small amount of damage that stacks to up to 12 times. So it's not a very good talent, but the fact of the matter is that Lonely Winter is actually kind of bad because you lose the Pet Nova, and Ray of Frost doesn't really benefit you much at all. So Bone Chilling is just like, it's not that good, but at least it's something. Okay, so here in the next row we have Shimmer, we have Cauterize, and we have Cold Snap. So Shimmer is a spell that replaces Blink, also teleports you 20 yards forward. The main thing that's different is that you can cast while casting, it's not on global cooldown, and it doesn't break stuns and bonds, so it doesn't break stuns. You know, if you get stunned, you can't Shimmer out of it, whereas you could have blinked out of it. This talent completely changed the Mage meta. For example, if you want to try to sheep someone, or Ring of Frost someone, I guess, you can Ring of Frost and then blink mid-cast and continue to cast. And that's really good because if you're trying to sheep someone around a corner, you can start the sheep cast as they line of sight, you can blink and follow them. It pretty much changes the way that mages can play their class. It gives them a ton of mobility. You also have 2 charges of this instead of only 1. So Shimmer is very good. However, it makes it so you get kind of screwed over by stuns, and that is why everyone in this expansion, or every mage this expansion, is going Orc, and this reduces the stun effects by 20%. So you kind of get screwed over by stuns, but you go Orc to kind of make up for that. So that's why my Orc, well, that's why. In addition, a lot of people are playing Relentless to reduce that CC even further, so that a 5-second stun is now more of like a 2.6 second stun or something, so it's a lot shorter, because Relentless and the hardiness stack. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, Cauterize, this is the same as it's always been. When you die, you get brought back to life. It's just not a very viable option, because you need Shimmer to get those sheeps, because you have no more Deep Freeze, no more Presence of Mind, no guaranteed way to get sheeps. You want Shimmer to line the sheeps, and Cold Snap, initially I thought would be better, because you get 2 ice blocks and you get a heal during your ice block, but like I said previously, Shimmer is just too valuable to gain that offensive pressure to get your sheeps off. Without Shimmer, you can never sheep, pretty much. So you need that Shimmer to get the sheeps, and And yeah, so we have Bone Shielding and Shimmer so far. Here in the 45 talent tree, we have Mirror Image, Rune of Power, and Incanter's Flow. So Mirror Image, you can't really control the Mirror Images. They kind of just do their own thing most of the time. So in PvP, it's just going to break your CC, and it's not going to help you out too much. They don't do enough burst damage to make it worth it, and they don't really attack the guy you want it to attack most of the time. Rune of Power is not an option for PvP because you can never really stand still. You're always on the move. You don't really have time to cast a Rune of Power and then do your burst. It's just boom, boom, boom. You have to do your CC burst, so you don't have enough time. So Incanter's is the only real option here, just like it was in the previous expansions. We have damage increase, 4% to 20%, cycling up and down for damage increase. That's really good. And go with Incanter's just for the increase. So we have Ice Nova, Frozen Touch, and Splitting Ice here. Splitting Ice isn't really an option just because it hits a nearby target. It doesn't increase your damage by that much. Ice Lance isn't a nuke anymore, really. It doesn't do too much damage, so 5% increase isn't great. And you don't really want AoE damage as a Frost Mage anyway. You're kind of single target burst. Frozen Touch, initially, I thought would be the pick. 2 charges of Fingers of Frost, and that's quite a bit of damage. What I overlooked, however, is Ice Nova. Ice Nova deals a large amount of damage to a primary target and a small amount to AoE targets around it. However, what's really cool is that you can actually shatter with it. So a lot of people don't know, but Deep Shatter works with Ice Nova. So if you charge up a Frostbolt, I'm not in front of a target dummy here, but just imagine with me for a second, if you charge up a Frostbolt, and then mid-air, you immediately Ice Nova, okay? Your Frostbolt's going to be mid-air, and then it's going to hit the Ice Nova target, which counts as a frozen target, shattering your Frostbolt Deep Shatter. So you're going to get a large amount of burst with a Frostbolt into an Ice Nova. So that's why you pick Ice Nova, it's because you can actually shatter off of it instead of Frozen Touch, where you don't have that synergy. So that's the 60 euro. Just here on the 75 talent tree, we have Ice Flows versus Ring of Frost versus Ice Ward. Although Ice Flows might be a valuable pick, and you might be able to take it against some things, I really like Ring of Frost because you can sheep one guy and ring another. The opportunity to be able to cross CC as just one player is just so valuable. Being able to maybe sheep the healer, with you sheep and then shimmer and get that sheep on the healer, and then say your rogue double cheeps 2 DPS and you can Ring of Frost off a cheap shot. So now you have one guy in a Ring of Frost and one guy in a Polymorph. That cross CC is so valuable, which is why I don't think Ice Ward or Ice Flows can really take the pick here. So Ice Ward gives you 2 Frost Novas, might sound good, problem with it is it DRs your Nova, so if you Frost Nova twice and you have a Pet Nova, your Novas are just going to be immune, and they're not going to do anything anymore, because the diminishing return. So Ice Ward isn't a viable option, and here we have Ice Flows where you can cast while moving, 3 charges, pretty cool, 20-second recharge, might not be too bad, but like I said, that cross EC is invaluable. So here we have Frost Bomb, Unstable Magic, and Arctic Gale, and I get so many questions about this row too. Xaryu, why are you Arctic Gale? Are you trolling? What is up with that? So the thing with this row is you don't have enough time to really cast Frost Bomb, and even if you did, it has an AoE effect, which would break CC, a Blind, a Sheep, these very valuable CCs that you don't want breaking. So you can't really go Frost Bomb. And you don't have enough time to cast it, so you just can't be Frost Bomb, unfortunately. Unstable Magic, your Frostbolts have a 20% chance to explode and deal extra damage. You're like, oh, that's cool, right? Wrong. Same thing. If you're doing damage next to a sheep target, you have a 20% chance to break the sheep, 20% chance to break a blind. That's terrible. You don't want that extra chance to break CC. So Frostbomb and Unstable Magic are not viable options for high-rated 3v3 arena. If you're doing a battleground, if you're just messing around with friends, if you're dueling, that's something else. I'm talking about 3v3 exclusively here, guys. So yeah, you cannot pick Frostbomb or Unstable Magic. So here we're forced into taking Arctic Gale. Increases Blizzard damage by 30% and its area of effect by 20%. So here we have a Blizzard. The only really bonus of this is that you get a larger Blizzard, so you can find people in stealth a little bit easier. Other than that, it's completely useless. If you wanted, you could just take nothing in this row. But yeah, Arctic Gale's what you're forced into, unfortunately. And the 100 talent row. I also get a lot of questions on this one. we have Thermal Void versus Glacial Spike versus Comet Storm. And, okay, so just to get this out of the way, Thermal Void, it actually got nerfed recently, so your Ice Lances against frozen targets extend your Icy Veins by 2 seconds. It used to be any Ice Lance extends your Icy Veins by 2 seconds. So Thermal Void isn't too great. I mean, in PvP it's not going to do you good. Icy Veins is going to get purged anyway. It's just not good. You can't really make it worth it. So we have Glacial Spike and Comet Storm. So Glacial Spike is like, was all the jazz a couple weeks ago, and then it got nerfed. Icicles got nerfed so that they don't get affected by Deep Shatter anymore, and everyone's like, oh no, Glacial Spike sucks now. This is the thing I'm still unsure about because I haven't done extensive testing. I believe Comet Storm is better, just because in Arena it's very difficult to actually land the Glacial Spike. You have a couple seconds where you might get cross CC, and you have a couple seconds to do your burst. In Arena, where there's a lot going on, it's very difficult to actually land the Glacial Spike, to actually get 5 Frost Bolts off, to then get 5 Icicles, to then cast a 2.42 second Glacial Spike. That got nerfed and doesn't do much damage anyway. So I would recommend not going Glacial Spike. When you do want to do damage, just pop your Ice Form, shatter into an Ice Nova. It's much quicker, it's still a lot of burst, but you're not going to have to rely on these huge Glacial Spikes that actually don't do too much damage anymore because they got nerfed. On top of that, when you choose Glacial Spike, you no longer get your Icicles for Ice Lance. You're actually losing out on some consistent pressure, and in some way you're losing out on burst for a talent that you might not even be able to cast for an entire game. So for fun, for duels, to mess around in a BG, sure. In Series 3v3, we're going with Comet Storm. Comet Storm, same thing as it has been in the past, 7 Icy Comets, blah blah blah. These will rain down on the target, 4 yards within its impact, so it doesn't break CC unless they're very close, and it actually does a good amount of damage. I think they buffed the damage a little bit this expansion. It does almost the same damage as an Ice Nova, if I'm not mistaken, and it's just the target can't be moving, and they have to be stunned so that the comets don't hit other targets. So that's my take on it right now, guys. I think these are the talents you're going to be taking as a Frost Mage in PvP in 3v3. This is subject to change as I do more testing, but I believe this is how it's going to be. I'll make another video on Honor Talents. As you see, I haven't even unlocked all of them yet, but I'll go over that in the future. But these are my talents for now. Thanks for watching. Like the video if you liked it, dislike the video if you didn't like it, and I'll see you guys next time.